Welcome to day 5 of The Woman Who Creates Time. I'm Rachael Evans. I am here with you over the next 30 days, or 25 days now. Uh, at the busiest time of year, it is December 15 today. I just had to check and look on my calendar there. And showing up at this time of the year to be here as a source of support. If you happen to be one of those people who is a scroller on YouTube videos for what is a really insane time of year for everyone, but women in particular. And I'm talking to you as a woman in business who is likely a mum and a partner as well, or any combination of woman in business who has children or not, looks after pets or plants, etc., etc. I am here sharing with you the things that have been highlights in my journey of going from being able to generate money but not able to keep it to being a wealth creation machine, I think is what we'd call it, and building significant wealth and businesses and being able to help other people do the same thing. Yesterday, I touched on money stories and money mindset and how your money mindset can actually be the thing that's keeping you poor or keeping you in a position in your business where you can generate money, but you find that your expenses are pretty much equal to what you're generating. It can also be the case where your money stories are okay, but they're being overpowered by the poorer money stories of your partner. And that in itself probably deserves its own special segment. I did have a question about that pop up on my Instagram last night about what you actually do if you discover that you are misaligned with your money stories inside of your personal relationship. So I think we will touch on that as its own thing in the coming days. But I was also asked about something else that I mentioned yesterday, which were the books that you could read, listen to, tap into to, I guess, speed up the pace that you become aware of what your money stories might be. Because absolutely everyone has money stories. It is your relationship with money, whether that's a good one or a bad one, that will be part of the predictor of your success. So everyone has them. It's just how you're using yours to serve your business, the way you treat money, and your ability to create wealth. So I thought today I'd share with you a couple of the books that have been pivotal in my education about money and the structure that it needs, but also around the energetics of money. Because I also mentioned in yesterday's video that money is an energy and it flows. And we know that flow is very much in the feminine domain. So we need to tap into that femininity around money as well, particularly if we're the feminine energy. So men might deal with it differently, but we're not here talking about them. We're here talking about us. So, in saying that, though, there are some masculine elements to being successful with your money and helping it grow. Now, some of you might immediately have all of the stories come in about money growing and your money growing and what that might mean for you in the negative mindset. And I talked about that a little bit yesterday. So if those fears pop up for you, like, will people treat me differently? Will my old friends or my current friends still talk to me? Will I be made fun of? Blah, blah, blah. Just acknowledge all of those fears as they pop into your mind, but just tell them we're going to park them to the side for a minute while we open our mind to some new information. That's all you have to do. You don't have to process those fears just at the moment. Just continue to be in the space where you can receive the information I'm going to share with you. So, the masculine part about setting up your money structure is the actual structure bit. Okay. Structure and systems in the way that we use them initially with money is a masculine thing. So the big money books, I would say, that will help you with the structure and the systems is hands down Profit First, because that is the cash management, cash flow system that I was referring to yesterday. So that system was written by a man, that book was written by a man, and it's very structural. It is do this and do this and do this and do this, and your money will respond to that. And it works. Okay, so my husband and I became Profit First professionals more than 5 years ago, and not long after Mike Michalowicz brought that book into the world. And we have used it inside our own business. We have used it in our personal finances, and we have shared it with hundreds of our private clients. And the structure and the treatment of money as it comes into your business that Profit First promotes has meant we have clients who have paid off hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. So one of our clients just finished paying back $450,000 worth of debt to the tax office. They came to us heavily in debt. I just have to clear my throat there. That's interesting. They came to us heavily in debt, and implementing the Profit First structure has systematically, over time, helped them eradicate that debt without them missing out on life. It didn't jeopardize the cash flow of their business. In fact, it helped support it. But can you imagine if you had nearly $500,000 worth of bad debt that had been hanging over your head, and then you put some structure towards your money, which you've never had before. You just had one business bank account, and out of that, money's coming in from however your business generates income from that one account. You're always doing the mental arithmetic on how much tax do I need to pay? How much sales tax do I need to give the government? My team wages, paying me, paying suppliers. When you've got only one bank account or even only two bank accounts, you've constantly got your head doing head miles trying to figure it all out. Implementing Profit First, number one thing to give your money structure. And it's masculine structure, and that's what we need in this situation. That one particular client, he is one of hundreds that we have helped in this way eradicate bad debt, so debt that doesn't have an appreciating asset attached to it, and also pay yourself properly and make sure that all the money is always there for your running expenses of your business, paying your team, and your other liabilities. So that's number one. Number two and number three. This one's an oldie, but it's a goodie for a reason. Okay. So I reread this one in Hawaii last year, and I do lots of thinking, lots of dreaming in Hawaii because it's just the most amazing place for doing that. But rereading Rich Dad, Poor Dad really brought home to me again. It's setting up the systems and the structure and purpose for your money that amplifies your money. So when you aren't clear on why you're doing this, like why be in business? Why be the one to take the risk? If you're unclear of what the end goal is that you're working towards, you will just go around in circles. You'll keep going on the merry-go-round. Feast, famine, struggle, 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 struggle. feast, famine, struggle, struggle, struggle. You'll keep being in that cycle until you take the time, and this is why we're the women who create time. You take the time to sit back and go, what is it that I want? What do I want for me? What do I want for the customers that I have in my business? And what's the end goal that I'm working towards that is worth all of this responsibility and risk? What is my contribution to humanity going to be? So you need to pause to figure that out. And maybe I know you definitely don't figure that out in one 10-minute pause, but there will be something that you connect to. And maybe it's like a phase thing. You connect to the nearest milestone that you can see. And then once you get to that, you kind of turn a corner and you can see even more possibility about what you could be working towards. That's the key. So, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you read it, when it was really popular when it first came out, give it a reread. You'll see it through different eyes because you are older now. You have more life experience, you have more financial years under your belt, and you likely have more people that you're responsible for. So there's different meaning to why you're doing what you're doing than there was the first time that you read it. Another one for the masculine structure/systems, the psychology of money. This one has only recently come into view. So I read it for the first time about 18 months ago. But once again, in terms of educating yourself about money and about investment options and what they all mean and how all of that pieces together, this one is a no-brainer. So we recommend this one to all of our clients. It's awesome. So there are things for structure: Profit First, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and The Psychology of Money. If you're not a reader of physical books, I love books. I love how they smell. I have an enormous bookcase upstairs that I just love to fill with my books. I love to walk past, pick a book up off the shelf, open it a random page and see what it wants to tell me that day. Okay, that might seem weird to you, but that works for me. But if you're not a reader, then see if you can be a listener. Okay, or see if you can find these authors on YouTube and watch snippets from talks they've given, whatever it is. But if you're not a reader and you can't overcome that, or you don't want to overcome that, then make sure you get things on Audible or listen to things as podcasts that you can use in your commute, in your walk, in your run, however you can. 10 minutes a day will do. But your money needs structure and systems. Then there are the more feminine side to money with energetics. And there are increasingly more and more books written for women about money from the feminine perspective, and many of them have that sort of feminine energetic flow to their purpose, I suppose, for the book. This one, it's Not Your Money, How to Live Fully from Divine Abundance. It's a really good one. Thoroughly enjoyed that book. Really liked this one too, Money Magic. So practical wisdom and empowering rituals to heal your finances. Our finances need healing. No one comes out of childhood with a perfect money mindset. It's up to us to do the work to investigate why things feel hard. No one can do that work for you. So if you're prepared to go down the rabbit hole and just explore in a couple of different places that you might not have thought of, then I guarantee you it is well worth it. I have to say I'm pretty proud of the well-rounded education I have provided myself since my first marriage separation at the beginning of 2018. I had no choice. It was sink or swim. I was immediately cut off from the income that I had helped grow in my previous marriage. And my coaching business that I was growing at the time wasn't yet fully established to provide full time for myself and my three kids. I had to learn fast, and I knew the key was in the structure and what I was learning about the energetics of money. And I didn't just sit there and read a whole bunch of books in a row on structure and then read a whole bunch of books on the energetics of money. They all came in and out at different times, and I pieced things together. And it was very much trial and error. And that's part of my human design. I have a 3 line, so I'm prepared to do the trial and error. And then when I hit on what works, I quickly pass that through to my coaching clients. That is where my genius is. So I formulate a system that wraps around what I've learnt, put it into place, I get the result for it, and then I'm able to share it quickly. So it's a continuous thing. I never stop wanting to learn something new about the flow of money or the structure of money. It's one of my favorite things to learn about. But if we go back even further than some of the fairly recent books that have been written about money, we would end up with this lady, the collected works of Florence Scovel Shinn. She was a Victorian era lady, and in the United States, so it's probably weird to describe her as Victorian era since that's English, but anyway, you get the time period. Turn of the century, between the late 1800s and early 1900s. And she is one of the first, what was called then prosperity writers. So prosperity writing turned into what we know today as self-help. So your Louise Hayes and your Wayne Dyers, they're born out of this vintage. Florence came before them. And she was one of the very early writers about the positive mindset frames to put around money. And one of her favorite sayings in her books of mine is that I'm digging ditches for my riches. Like the work that you go to do with your money mindset, and that then follows into your business, is you are digging ditches. You are digging wells for your riches when you are working on this stuff, okay? You are expanding your capacity to hold wealth. So these books, Florence Scovel Shinn, and later my all-time favorite prosperity writer, Catherine Ponder. She comes along. The 12 dynamic laws of prosperity. You can order her book on Amazon. This amazing lady is now 97 years old. Catherine Ponder, she's still alive. And she wrote basically from the 50s up until she stopped writing for new books until the very early 2000s. But now her books are continually reprinted and republished by their thousands. And that is really the basis of my spiritual education about money. So if you wanted to jump on board with things that might help you look at money in a whole different way, I recommend going back to the start of where women really started to write about money. And these two women, Florence and Catherine, were writing about money from their perspective during a time when women's opinions about money weren't even supposed to be publicly be known. You know, women were holding their teacups, sitting down, having tea with each other, while the men were in the drawing room talking about the important stuff. But the reason that these women were so successful with, first of all, bringing prosperity into their lives and then sharing it with others is because they are doing it with feminine flow. So they do talk about the structure you need for your money as well. So you can't do it without the masculine part. There's got to be vessels to hold the money and for you to expand your money mindset. But then there's the flow of it as well. So there's one more book, though, that I would share with you. And when I first started on this journey of growing my money mindset and then realizing that, wow, yep, I was carrying some poor money stories, I dove into this book and I've only ever had it digitally, and I have reread it probably 15 times. So it's called The Energy of Money by Maria Nemeth, Nemeth. Go online, download it now. And it's written in the 80s. So before we have this influx of information that was made available by the internet, before social media, before people could be taking pictures of themselves, dripping in designer bags in luxury locations, before there were influencers about anything. This was literally about the mindset of money and how you can change it. And there are some fantastic exercises in that book that I highly encourage you do. I have rolled information from that book with information from all of the books that I've mentioned today, plus many more. And as I mentioned, it's part of my human design to test things out, trial and error, create the system, have the success with it, and pass it on. So my clients that I work with privately and in the online program Sort Your Shit Out, they get the benefit of what works as opposed to having to do the trial and error themselves. I have replicated this with hundreds of clients. There's no question. It's the way. The thing for you is, are you ready to move forward out of a place where you might feel stuck, where it feels hard at the moment? And if the answer is yes, then just download one of the books that I've mentioned. Go and find a podcast about money, particularly one, if you can find a good one, where a woman is talking about money. Listen to Amanda Francis. She wrote an amazing book called Rich as Fuck. And I've listened to it half a dozen times as well. It's a more modern take on being amazingly wealthy as a woman in the modern day. But if it feels hard and you feel stuck, it's an indication that it is time for you to do something differently. So what if for the next year you made a commitment to yourself to learn more about money itself as an energy instead of just looking at it from a negative perspective of, I just never seem to have enough. If you feel like you've never got enough, let that be your trigger that you were meant to watch this video today. I hope you found it helpful. Please subscribe to the channel and like this video so that I can help more women like you in business who are also juggling household, relationship, and all of the things that come with being a woman in business in this modern day. Can't wait to see you tomorrow.